SoulSpeak Living in Color, where we talk about inspirations, following your dreams, and what lights your fire. I'm your host, Sam Philyaw, Rainbow and Thunder voiceover. You can find me at samphilyawvo.com. Hi, welcome to SoulSpeak Living in Color. Today is episode 4 with Mercedes Lewis. She is an awesome voiceover actress and Twitch streamer, as you can see with the headphones and the cool, colorful booth. She's known for her black and rainbow colors in everything that she does. Rainbow Mic Gaming, if that gives you any clue. So Mercedes' voice can be found in a bunch of video games, animation, commercials, e-learning, you name it. She's got a few projects and her demos on her website at mercedeslewisvo.com. So you should go check that out. And in the meantime, we're going to talk a little bit about her voiceover business, Twitch streaming, her passions, and any other hobbies that she may have. Just life in general, give you guys a little inspiration for today. So lo and behold, Miss Mercedes Lewis, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. This is exciting.
So tell us about your voiceover journey so far. Like, how did you get into it? What made you start doing it, and where it's going right now?
So my passion for video games is the reason for everything. Every year, I think it's a little different with COVID right now, though. There is an event called E3, which is a gaming event that has all these different companies come together and showcase all these new games that are coming out. And one particular year, Final Fantasy VII Remake was shown off, and we haven't heard about that game for years, and all of a sudden they're like, it's coming out next year. This was back in 2019. And I found out that one of the main actresses actually didn't have a voice acting background, but she landed a main role in the game. And that kind of just started making the wheels in my brain turn a little bit, and I really wanted to, for some reason I was like, I want to be in that game. It has like multiple installments, we don't know how many, but I was like, if she could do it, maybe I have a chance. So I actually am friends with one of the celebrity voice actors that's been in Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy. Reached out to him and I was like, okay, I know you get this question all the time at conventions, but where do I go to get started? And he was like, I want to be a voiceactor.com, research it and see if it's for you. And I may have looked at it for about a couple hours, and I already had made a decision. So the website wasn't going to intimidate me with all this little scary stuff that they had. It's like, beware of this, make sure you're doing that if you're not doing that. And I was like, I don't understand, but I'm going to do it anyway. And it was crazy, right? So I started joining all these Facebook groups for voice acting. I don't know what I'm doing, you know. I made a SoundCloud account, put my voice on there, saying a monologue for like less than a minute, I think, just so I could have a sample to send people of what I sounded like. And I started applying for casting calls on the Facebook groups before they became more training oriented. And so within the first 2 weeks, after I did all of this, right, because I kind of just like did it all at once. I just kind of went, I made the decision and I said, I'm doing this. And then I just went. And when I put my voice out there, which looking back, I'm a little embarrassed because I'm like, you know, when I hear myself then and now, I'm just like, I did that. Wow, I was really brave. And I had submitted the SoundCloud audio to a potential client, but then somebody that had nothing to do with the post came in and said, hey, I heard your sample. We want to work with you. And that landed me my first radio imaging spot, my first paid spot within 2 weeks of joining on my cell phone.
That's incredible. What?
Yeah. And me at the time's just like, I don't know what's going on, but I really want to do this. And now I'm like, you did it backwards, sister. Because, you know, they're just like, you did it on a cell phone. You got paid through a cell phone. Like, that's not good quality. That's odd. And I'm like, I don't know. It just happened. And so after I had gotten my first paid gig in radio imaging, I then actually upgraded my microphone to an MXL 990. That was my first official mic. And then eventually I worked my way up to the Neumann TLM 103 so that I can audition for like the bigger studio required auditions where they're like Neumann TLM 103 or equivalent. What the equivalent is, I don't really know. I was just like, I want a Neumann. But yeah, so my journey's been really crazy. It's been a blessing. Everything just fell into place. I never knew I had the desire to do this until that E3 event when Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming out. And then that's when I was just like, well, maybe I can do something like this. So it wasn't one of those things that I dreamed about doing. And I didn't even really know that it was an option that I could do it. I was like, I could do this? Like, what? But I do have some background in theater. I did dinner and theater tournament. I did actress for that for several years. And I was a band geek growing up. And so like a part of me when I became a mom kind of lost out on the creative side of things because I gave that all up and I started working like admin jobs and stuff. And eventually I realized that there was something missing and I didn't realize it was acting and being creative. And so voice acting really was like a saving grace that came into my life because it allowed me to be creative because that part of me I felt like was gone. And then all of a sudden like it's back and I'm just like, wow. And it's just been, I've just go, 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 go nonstop. Been blessed, have all these different opportunities coming in. I treat every opportunity like it's the most amazing thing. I'm always grateful every time somebody like offers me a job. I get referrals, the auditions go through and I get accepted. It's just been incredible. So I've just celebrated in October 2 years. So it's been an amazing 2 years journey so far in voice acting.
Well, congratulations on your 2 years. That's so awesome. Good luck and skills right off the bat.
Thank you. Thank you. I like to think that everything that I've done led up to this moment. Everything. The business stuff that I've learned over the years with management jobs I've had, the acting part that I had experience with the theater stuff, and also getting in front of people with band because I did marching band and I was in the stadiums performing in front of hundreds upon hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe it was a big stadium. But I that exposure, all of that stuff just kind of trickled in and helped me just grow. And then from there, take trainings whenever it's available, coaching whenever I'm able to. And it just kind of came together. And I'm still learning. I always tell people, school's never out for the pros. People are always learning in their journey. And that's a good thing because you're always progressing and you're always moving forward and finding new ways to improve yourself and your business and voice acting. So yeah, it's been, I can't even explain it in words. It's just, I'm so grateful. So grateful.
That's awesome. And there's always new trends, new skills
There
to
is.
learn. So it's like, I mean, last year during the height, I guess I don't know if it's actually the height, but the start of COVID, it was mostly middle-aged and soft and empathetic. And then it started getting young and spunky again. And now it's kind of like went towards more middle-aged again. I'm talking about commercial trends.
Yeah, and
It's just
very
going kind of like back and forth right now.
conversational. Yeah. Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
interesting and keeping an eye on that. And but that's what's really cool is the fact that there are trends and it's different. I
right.
like the fact that I like the fact that it's different and that it's not the same thing every time. And that's why I really love voice acting because every job is unique. Every experience is unique.
You're
It's
doing
never the
something
same.
different every
Yeah,
day.
every time. And I'm like, you know what? This is amazing. And you start to change and improve and get better and you start to tweak your what works for you. You get to discover yourself more and what you can and cannot do. And it's really cool. It's really cool.
And not to mention, this is the best industry to work in ever. Like the people are so supportive and awesome. You can go to
I
literally
yeah.
anybody and be like, my question, I have this question of I'm a newbie, and they'll be like, yeah, sure, go here and do this. And I know a
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, from the moment I started, I literally had several people take me under their wing and they're like, "We got you." And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like they instilled this confidence in me. I knew I was ready to go and I was excited. I was like, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. And then but then I had this support system that through the tough times, because it gets hard, it gets very hard. They would remind me, of the reason why I'm doing this, and they would remind me and encourage me and tell me my worth, because sometimes you can get lost in the moment when there's things that are happening that are really stressful, that you're because it's such a versatile and constantly changing business. It can get overwhelming at times, especially if you're not used to having consistent changes like that. And so I have this support system that helped me grow, helped me adjust and realize, I can do it in my pace. I don't have to rush, 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 because at first I thought I had to. At first I was like, I got to do this now. But then over time, I learned that I'm going to get where I need to be, where I want to be, when it's the right moment, when I am ready. Because who wants to be in a place that they're not prepared for and then fall on their face and then they never have that opportunity again? And so a part of me at first felt like, I had to get all of this stuff now. There's a time limit. But once I took that weight off my shoulders and I'm like, it's okay if you don't meet a deadline, like a goal. It's okay if you want to make your goal big enough to make you jump out of bed and find ways to like really get creative and get to where you want to be. But at the same time, if it's really, really big, don't put that, unnecessary stress on yourself, because then you can get burnt out and then you may stop. And so I learned all of that as I was doing it. And I realized, hey, okay, slow down. You're going to get where you want to be when you are ready. However long that is, it's going to be okay. You can have years or months or these goals set up. And if you don't meet them, it's not the end of the world. Keep going. Set new
Yeah.
goals, set, new expectations, and go from there. Just don't, you know, put that pressure on yourself. Give yourself permission to, have resting days if you're overwhelmed, because it's about the journey and not necessarily just the destination, right? This whole journey is absolutely incredible. And sometimes people are working so much that they get really stressed out and they forget that it's, yeah, they have an end goal, but the journey itself is part of the enjoyment, part of the passion for what we do, the
Mhm.
love that, for this craft. So but yeah, there's a lot of things I've learned over only 2 years, and I'm like,
Just
so
imagine the things you'll be learning in the next 2 years.
I can't even. I'm like, I thought I could imagine before, and I still can't. I'm still learning, and I'm excited because there's all these different conventions that you can participate in that are coming up for voice actors and things like that that are starting to open up again, and online things like that. And there's just so many avenues and so many different genres to learn. I mean, there's no set path. You go in the path that you want. Oh, I'm getting so excited. I'm like knocking things over. Um, and so because when I first started out, when I got that radio imaging spot, I originally had the mindset, I want to do video games. I want to do video games. I want to do video games. But then I realized I don't have to just do that. I can kind of like, I can learn everything if I wanted to. I can really and by doing that, I was able to figure out what my strengths and weaknesses were. And then the coaching came in where I was able to focus on character work. That's where my passion is. That's what got me started, is character work, and I have experience in character work versus, narration, which I've also done. I've had the pleasure of doing narration and narrating for audiobooks, which is that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you have a special respect for people that do that for a living constantly. Like that's all they do is narrate audiobooks. Much respect, because
I've done one. So I'm like, I don't want to do anymore.
it's hard, but you learn this as you're doing it. You learn. You're like, oh, this is the genre I like. This is the genre I'm not a huge fan of. This is what I'm kind of expecting to put my time into. This is not what I'm expecting to put my time into. This is where you can make more money for a short period of time. This is going to take a lot of work, but you can get eventually residual. Like there's all sorts of different things that you can look at with each genre, but because there's so many, you're always learning. Always. And I'm
I think
like,
that's the best part.
yeah, yeah. And so I'm always trying to learn new genres, hone skills, but my specific one that I am just like, this is where I want to put everything into, and then everything else trickles out from there is the character work, where the video game, animation, all of that, that's what I love to do. That's where I want to hone and then go in from there. But I got really lucky with the radio imaging spots because it led to commercials and all of that kind of I was able to learn as I was, with the people that had me under their wing and they were teaching
Mhm.
me their ways and stuff. So it's really cool. There's a lot of support, and honestly, it just having the support system that I've had has opened so many doors for me and has given me chances to have people give me the chance that they didn't, that normally they wouldn't. But
Yeah.
because of the support and people being like, okay, check her out, or referrals, things like that, it really makes a difference for my business, specifically with voice acting, is the referrals, where I try to always show up. I show up, I give it 200%. I want people to trust that when they refer me that I'm going to make, and like I'm going to show up. And so that's the biggest thing, is I always, that's the reputation I always want to have, is I'm there. You refer me, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be there. I'm going to work. I'm going to give you quality. Here you go. And it's because I've learned from people and I've learned from people that made mistakes. They're like, don't do this. And I learned as I grew. And yeah, I've done some things like the whole like recording on my phone and stuff like that starting out, but I didn't know any better. You don't know any better when you're starting out. When you start out and you make the decision to be a voice actor, you're like, okay, what do I do? And you have this excitement and the new love feel, and like puppy love stage. I call it to be cutesy, but you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't. And then when you realize, oh, this is what I'm getting myself into. It's just an ongoing journey from there. But I honestly think voice acting has changed my life for the better, has improved my way of life in such a way that I can't describe, and has really changed me as a person, and has brought the it has brought the best version of myself out. And I'm proud of that. Like, I'm so grateful. I really am, for the all the experiences that I've gained through just 2 years of this so far.
Right? I mean, you really just dove right in and learned to swim. That's
Yep.
incredible.
It's scary, but you weren't joking. I literally dived in. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this. Even though I got all these warnings saying, if you don't have this, if you don't have this, I was like, he. That's exactly what I did.
You
That's
skip
exactly what I
you
did.
skip the whole toe first, like little dip in the water, and you just like cowabunga.
My husband brings that up because he was like, I've never seen you so passionate about anything like ever like this ever before voice acting. He's like, you've been passionate about stuff, but like to this extent, I've never seen it. And it's real. And like he has a point, because it's the passion and the drive and the desire that is there for voice acting. Um, it's this driving force in my life. Like, it's just all the fears that I still feel, as I go through this journey, because there are certain things that I'm like, um, it doesn't stop me from doing it, even though the fears can be pretty big sometimes. It, the passion is stronger and more powerful than the fear, and so that's why like I just dived in, because I was like, you know what, I want this that bad that I'll figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out, but I'm going to figure it out. And people could be like, well, that's not the right way. But the thing is that everybody's journey in voice acting is so totally different, that there is no set way, or, how you get to where you want to go. It's going to be different. No path is the same. And I had that realization to begin with, when I realized how just vast the industry is. And that kind of took pressure and weight off myself because I realized I was like, you know what, my journey is my journey. I don't have to be like this person. I don't have to be like this person. These people encourage me, but I don't have to be exactly like them to and go at their pace. I have to go at my pace because I want to be the best that I can be. But if I rush it, I'm not going to be ready. So,
Right.
yeah.
It truly is your business when you can do something like that.
Yes. Yes. It's the best kind of business. It's working for yourself.
Exactly. So now that we've learned your love of video games and animation, let's talk about your Twitch streaming, because I know that's kind of turned into a sort of business for you as well.
Yeah.
Rainbow
Yeah.
Mike Gaming, I mentioned that earlier. So talk to
Yes.
me about that. Like what is it for you and what's your goal?
Yeah. So everything stems down to video games for me. So I never thought I would ever become a streamer. Honestly, I didn't think about it until I became a voice actor. And then I started noticing that other voice actors, they would do some streaming here and there. And then a part of me was like, well, I want to specialize in video game work. What if I could like build a community and create like a streaming community, whether it was Twitch or YouTube, because at the time I didn't know that, and I could showcase, in a sense, the work that I voiced in, along with streaming games that I absolutely love. And so eventually, over time, after landing several video game roles, I thought it was about time. I was like, okay, I think it's time that I can look into streaming because I wanted multiple streams of income, nothing wrong with doing that if you can handle it. And that was kind of like something that was really fun for me. I consider streaming fun. It's really nice downtime, even though I'm performing, but I consider it relaxing. It's kind of like, it's a way for me to step back from the stressful aspects of stuff from life and just chill and play video games and entertain people and hang out with chat. And so I actually just started Rainbow Mike Gaming back in May of this year. And it is growing at a steady rate. Very like, we are very community and like family oriented community. I try to keep my content family friendly. The video games might not be as family friendly because a lot of them are kind of immature, but me, I try to keep family friendly. And if the content's not, I do 18 plus symbol because it's my friends. And they laugh at me because they're like, you only put the 18 plus symbol on there because it's us. And I'm like, yeah, because it's y'all, not me. So, but we have a lot of fun on Rainbow Mike Gaming. We stream all sorts of stuff. I say we because, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for the viewers, for my community of Rainbow Mike Gaming, and we have a Discord and everything. We try to find community nights. We have people gathering and building friendships with each other outside of everything because of the community. And so it's just a beautiful thing that I never knew would turn into what it is. I just kind of had this idea. I was like, okay, I want to stream games I voice in and stream games I love. Let's see what happens. And now it's like a full-blown business. And we are growing and getting content out there. I have a YouTube channel where I post VODs or like random best moments, and there's some really funny stuff out there that's happened. But the whole purpose of Twitch streaming is it's something that I love to do, but it allows me to also reach out to a different type of audience from what I've been doing with voice acting. And so it's just a totally different avenue. It's totally different. I really didn't know what I was getting myself in for with that. But just like with voice acting, I did a lot of research before actually becoming a Twitch streamer. I spent probably 3 weeks to almost a month researching heavily on Twitch before like diving in and getting to Twitch affiliate in less than 10 days, like crazy
Awesome.
stuff. But it's because I prepped and prepared myself mentally and learned what I needed to do to get there that it kind of just it worked out. And now it's just it's its own business. And I originally it was Mercedes Lewis voiceovers. I had it as Mercedes Lewis voiceovers, and then I rebranded it to Rainbow Mike Gaming, because in Mercedes Lewis voiceovers, my brand, my voice acting business brand, there's a Rainbow Mike. And so people are like, well, if you're going to rebrand and separate the two, but they all are under the same umbrella of Mercedes Lewis voiceovers, and you want to keep them separate just in case my audience doesn't want anything to do with the voice acting part. You know, what if they just want to do with the gaming aspect? They don't want anything to do, or vice versa. People in the voice acting community don't want anything to do with the Twitch stuff. So I rebranded and separated the two just so that I can handle it. Not everybody has to do this. It made sense for me because I was able to post different contents to different social medias and keep it organized and separated. And I'm so grateful because the Rainbow Mike Gaming stemmed from the Rainbow Mike in the logo of Mercedes Lewis voiceovers. And that's how we came up with Rainbow Mike Gaming. And people are like, well, what does the Rainbow Mike stand for? You know, like why that logo? You know, what inspired that? And the Rainbow Mike pretty much was just a description, in a sense, of my voice. Like, we were describing it as colorful, fun, and friendly. And I love rainbows. Like, people are like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, rainbow. And so we made the Rainbow Mike with hair coming out of it. And yeah, the hair's, it changes colors. There's a purple, there's like a turquoise teal. I mean, it changes colors. And because I have a lot of wigs.
If you guys haven't seen her wigs, you need to go check out some of her videos because they're awesome.
I've got like 8 or 9 now. I can't even keep track because I love dressing up. I love wearing different wigs, different colors. We got purple, we got pink, we got rainbow, we got gray. Now I added gray, which was interesting. People like that one. But yeah, we have all sorts of colors. And it stemmed from the original Mercedes Lewis voiceovers, and then we branded it to Rainbow Mike Gaming. And so, and they both coincide with each other, but they don't. They're their own separate businesses. I want to be able to have the option to keep them separate. So, and it works out really well. I mean, it's just incredible. I'm able to, you know, while let's say for instance, I have a really busy week with voice acting and I need to chill out with streaming. People know. I'll be like, hey, this is kind of like a chill week. I got one streaming day with y'all, but I have all this work that's coming in. So sorry about that. And people will get it. They'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Or I'll have like 4 or 5 days of streaming, and then like maybe there's a little bit quiet. You know, maybe there's a brief moment of silence, and I'm creating content on the side while that silence is going on. When I say silence, I mean like, you know, like not just auditioning, like, because that's, you know, you audition when you can, but like actual jobs coming in and things like that. Like if it's a brief moment of silence, I will focus and do content creation with the gaming aspect of things, because I tell everybody, you know, the video games is the reason why I started everything. So why not, you know, why not do all that? And it works for me. I absolutely love it. It's been a blessing to my family and I. It's opened doors. I mean, Twitch alone unexpectedly opened doorways to voice acting stuff. I've met game developers on Twitch that were like, wait, you're a voice actress. This is a game that you voice in. Very curious. Okay, well, we're looking for people. And like, I had a job. This is really cool. There was a game developer that was live that needed NPCs for what he was working on. He was like, hey, can you jump in and send me an audio file? And I'm like, here you go. In the middle of the night. I don't know how I did that. Somehow I was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, but that's because California time is, what was it, midnight? So it worked out. But somehow I was up, I sent it in, and that was on Twitch. And I'm like, this is interesting. So like, there's all sorts of really fun, creative ways that you could like create content and get your name out there and go to different avenues. It's really fun. I love it. I'm just like, this is so much fun, you know. And they say that you don't feel like you're working a day in your life when you have this much fun with what you do. And yes, there you have all the nitty gritty behind the scenes and stuff, the not so fun data, you know, all that stuff that you have to do, email marketing, things like that. But for the most part, the job itself, I'm just like, this is so much fun. I love doing this. I love this so much. I don't want to stop this. This is great. This is my life. This is forever, forever and ever.
You never retire.
Yeah,
Ever.
I gotta take care of this, my instrument. So, but yeah, so honestly, the Twitch streaming was unexpected as well. Voice acting fell in my lap unexpectedly. I wasn't expecting that. Twitch streaming kind of just happened. I mean, who knew May? That's a random month. I don't know why I started in May. I just knew it was time. And then I was able to actually a couple weeks ago stream the demos of the games that I voice in that are coming out at the end of the year that are a really big deal for me. And I was able to share it with my community, and they're like, wow, like that, like, how, when can we sign up? Like, where's the wish list? And it's just been incredible. And you don't realize how it affects people when you're sharing that content with them live on Twitch streaming, and it's content of your voice acting. It's just like, wow, So it's really cool. I love it. I have a lot of fun with it. It's my way of staying creative consistently and being busy consistently, because every business will have its moments of high and low seasons, and I'm able to bounce between, and it's amazing. It's great. I'm grateful. And my community is very understanding. They understand that if there are weeks where I can't do 4 streams and I have to like maybe go to 1 or 2, they'll know it's because I'm busy doing other stuff. Like I have to focus on other things. And then because I'm able to do that, I'm able to have that flexibility. I try to remain as consistent as I can, but sometimes life happens, but I do show them that I am there, as long as I'm showing up, hey, I'm here, or hey, join the Discord if you want to stay up to date on the schedule, things like that. People will know what's going on. Like I'm always communicating like, hey, this week is going to be these streams and things like that. And communication is really important. It's like, it's so important because people, if you don't communicate what's going on and you're not, what's the word? I feel like I tell people, if you're not making your presence known, right? People aren't going to know you're there if you're not saying anything. And so I kind of just say stuff and people are like, oh, this girl Mercedes is here. Okay, who's she? And then I just go from there. I'm like, hi, how's it going?
Let me introduce
I
myself.
kind of just popped up out of nowhere. That's how I feel about my life right now. I'm kind of popping up out of nowhere. Things are happening. How's it going? How can I help you today? But I always tell people, have a grateful heart. Be grateful for every opportunity you have, and be positive. Be as positive as you can for other people, because it's hard. It gets super. It could get. This imposter syndrome is not just a voice acting industry thing. The Twitch streaming, there's imposter syndrome there, because there are times where I'm like, it happens, and you get this sort of like, you want to remain a light for other people because other people are going to be going through similar struggles or worse struggles than we are at times in our lives. And so the Twitch streaming allows me to get in front of people and just spread positivity and love, because I'm very big about that in my community on there. It is just making people feel welcomed and loved and safe and cared about, and we spread positivity. Like we don't allow people to bully people, like like we're not one of those communities. We're just like, nah, ban, done.
Because I know that's a thing in Twitch, is that there's a lot of crass people who do Twitch streaming.
Yes. And the thing about Twitch streaming is that it's your own community, and however direction you want to go with that. I choose to do family friendly oriented, as in like my Discord is open to everyone, and we have rules and moderators that I have specifically chosen in place to protect the community from people that break the rules, or trolls that you have to deal with, things like that. Very negative, nasty people. You're going to get that everywhere, but I have built in place a team. We have a team of moderators and myself that are trusted individuals that will go in and do what they can to make sure that the streams are safe. If there's any problems, they have the ability to be like, bye, and I entrust that, to them, because I carefully select who I give that privilege to. And I, it's not just something that I am just be like, okay, I don't know you. You're going to have the ability to manage my channel. Here you go. It's more of like, okay, I know you. I trust you. I've worked with you or your family, because I have family members that are actually helping me. And they will go in and they will just spread the love that I've been trying to build in the community. And and they'll be like, what can we help you with today? Hey, who wants to play some Phasmophobia? And then all these people come in and they play together separately on like days I'm not streaming, and it's wonderful, it's beautiful. I'm like, oh, this is so great, this is so wholesome, this is so amazing. I was like, y'all, this is I was like, I didn't even dream about this. Like, this stuff is happening. I didn't even expect it, right? I just had an idea and kind of just was like, let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, like, all this stuff is just it's a lot of stuff happening, but it keeps my life very interesting, and it's wholesome and great,
That's going to be
'cause
really cool to see where you're going to go with it in the next 5 years or so, because it's really wonderful the kind of community that you're building, especially for video game streaming,
yeah,
because you don't often see even a woman doing Twitch streaming for video games. I sure don't.
Yeah, I have a few role models that I look up to that are like the top partner people, and they have really amazing, wholesome communities that protect one another and they're there for one another. And I'm just like, that's where I want to be at. It's already there. It's just that it's slowly growing. It's amazing to watch, and the friendships that are being made between the different people that we have in Discord and things like that, and people coming together that from all over. It's just really, really cool. It's just amazing. And and there's going to be some bad times. There's going to be some people, there's going to be some bad apples that are going to go in there and try and wreck things up and try to bring the morale down. And that's when I'm like, I have rules. I feel bad because I'm like, I have some rules, but I have rules for a reason,
Right.
because I know what I don't want people to have to deal with, because I have been, unfortunately, on the side of things where I've been harassed. I've been belittled. I've gone through all sorts of stuff in the past couple of years that, is part of the process of when you do, anything related to art that's subjective. I've been ridiculed. I've been insulted. And I'm like, you know what? Those are not the kind of people I want in this community to begin with. The people that are like always bashing other people and making other people feel bad, you know? And so I'm just like, we don't condone that kind of behavior. And so, and from the examples and things that I've gone through on my journey, the tough stuff, I was able to apply that to Twitch streaming and what I know that I allow and what I don't allow with the community.
Like, did I give you permission to critique me? Did I ask for your
Critiquing's
opinion?
fine. Critiquing's fine. But when it comes to like really nasty, mean comments, it's like,
that's what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Criticize, I should say.
Because I'm like, listen, I can insult me, but like that doesn't mean you could drop those mean words in my chat to insult me even more. Like that's like no.
The amount of harassment that I've seen on Twitter for a bunch of different voice actors who are a bit more famous than the most of us is absolutely insane. Like, they get death threats for this villain role or whatever that they played.
Yeah.
They get sexual harassment in their DMs, and I'm like, why do you guys do this? Like,
yeah,
and so unnecessary.
It is, and I've dealt with to some degree some of that because I was part of a group where that was starting to become really popular at one point, and the fans, some of them just, they were not very nice, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. You really do, because not everybody's gonna love how we sound. Not everybody's gonna like what characters we voice. Some of them are gonna be like, she sounds terrible, or I voiced boy roles, and some of them are like, it's a girl, like people get mad.
Who cares?
Right. And I'm like, it's all good. It's all gravy. It's like, you know what? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But and sometimes I've done work where I'm like a silent voice and nobody knows who I am, and my name is nowhere on the credits. Thank goodness for that. And the comments are like, don't read the comments if you're listening to this and you want to do voice acting or any sort of YouTubing or Twitch streaming or anything, and people are straight up harassing you in the comments. Don't read them. Don't read them. Because all that's going to do is make you question everything that you're doing. And that's just going to put you back a little bit. And you're going to be like, am I doing the right thing? Don't listen to them, because it's just a bunch of noise that you have to ignore. And it's part of the process. And unfortunately, you have to have really, really thick skin. And I'm a sensitive little baby. I really am. I'm like super sensitive. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Okay. So I was like, is this the right thing? Should I be really doing this? Like, this is really hard, like, because it's like, I am a very sensitive baby. Like, I am, like, people hurt my feelings, and it's how you react to it that matters. And so I had to deal with that aspect of things where people just hated the way I sounded, hated it. They're like, she doesn't sound mature enough for this. And they would just like straight up rip me apart. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not gonna even look at this stuff anymore. My client's happy. They paid me because they're happy with my work. Y'all don't pay my bills. It does not matter. I'm gonna tune out.
Exactly.
I tell people it matters what you tune into. If you tune into too much negativity, it's going to destroy you. Stop it. Turn it off. Change the channel and be like, and listen to the good stuff, But that's where the support system comes in. And the people that are like, why are you listening to that noise? Those stupid heads don't matter. Stop listening to the noise. And I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
I am a boss ass bitch. I deserve love.
I'm a mom bug. I'm not gonna listen to these punks. But it's the truth, because sometimes it takes your friends and colleagues and family to remind you. Having that circle, and especially in the VO community, people are gonna just like hug you and be like, it's okay. They hug you with their words and their support, and you feel it,
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people I've made some of the best friends I've ever made in voice acting, and I've had the pleasure of meeting some of them, and I'm so grateful. Like, the friendships I've made over these past couple of years have just been so beautiful, and they have helped me get through the hard stuff, the part where people are like hating on me and hating my voice, and my voice is me. Like, my voice is me. Like, I can't
do nothing about it.
Like, I can't change my instrument. I can change stuff about it, yeah, but initially, it's I am me, and that's okay. And I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that.
Even the most famous voice actor, let's say someone who does Disney films or a bunch of anime or all the commercials in the world, their voice, someone's gonna hate it.
Exactly. And somebody's gonna be like,
it doesn't matter.
It does not. It does not.
So long as you're getting paid or you're loving what you're doing, I mean.
Yep.
Right.
That's right. And the biggest thing is that I love what I do so much that none of it matters. And I had to like slap my wrist a little bit and remind myself, why are you listening to all of that? That, like, you love this so much. Stop questioning, stop feeling the imposter syndrome, stop. Because at one point I was like, well, I have to do it this way or I am nothing. But then I realized, I was like, no, you're doing it the way that makes sense for you. You have a family, you have these responsibilities, like families first, right? And you have to juggle around all of that, And when my daughter has autism, and so she has a lot of therapy that she needs to go to, different things are going on with her. And I have to balance my life around that with also voice acting, Twitch streaming. And it's just like, it's a lot of stuff. But it's unique to me and my situation. And my journey is going to go around that. Like, where am I going to go? I don't know, but we will find a way. I have the most supportive husband. He's been since day one. I like the fact that he was just like, I've never seen you like this with anything else. And then from there, he's just been like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing in here? And I'm like, you can't see, NDA, door shut. Or I'll be like, can you please watch Jill so I can go record? Like, can you please bring her to like outside or on the other side of the house so that the recordings do not pick her up? And things like that, just to be silly. But he'll do it because he was like, I want you to reach that level of success that you want to reach, because I have some big dreams. Really, really big dreams. And honestly, my passion and my drive is so strong that no matter how many rejections I get, that's not going to stop me from trying to strive for the dreams, even though I know they're pretty big. Like, I'm like, yeah, that is kind of big, but I'm still gonna do it. Like, I'm still gonna do whatever I can to get there,
I love it.
So yeah.
Oh, and a little birdie told me that you've started doing some coaching.
A little birdie. Oh, for so I'm like mentorship program. Are you talking about for like the VO Academy? Yeah. So okay. You want to talk about opportunities that happen out of the blue. The thing I've learned in voice acting is you're never prepared for the things that happen. Because I did a podcast and somebody randomly, a random viewer heard me, and he messaged me out of the blue and said, I listened to your interview and I want you to be a mentor for this month and for character reads. And I'm like, like, probably like you could probably imagine, oh my God, what is it? Like freaking out, I'm like, freaking out, grateful. And I was like, I'm a baby. Are you sure about it? He was, but you know what he said that was really encouraging. He was like, I have to get the wording right. I'm not gonna get the wording right. Darn it. I'm sorry, Corey. Pretty much I'm as real as it gets when it comes, like I'm showing the human side of everything. Like, this isn't a situation where I just kind of like walked into a studio and here it is. It's like, hey, I started with this. I went to a microphone. I had no money starting out. Like, I used money that I was making to invest, and eventually we got to a point where, COVID hit, and that wasn't fun. But voice acting and Twitch streaming have like helped our finances in a way that I haven't seen anywhere, like with any job I've ever had, period. And so, but he was just like, you're very honest about your story and how you started and how you had nothing. And you started out with your phone and you got your first gig on your phone. He was like, and I really enjoy your story and your personality. He was like, we really need someone like you to come in and encourage other people and give them hope, because they may be going through similar situations as you, like with your family life, things like that. And so I had the pleasure of joining the VO Academy as a mentor for video game character reads, and I was able to mentor for the month of August entirely. And I'm still in that group where I get to go in and interact with the amazing academy. I have met so many amazing members, and it's just, I'm so blessed to have these people in my life. They're an incredible group. And we would just go on calls like what we're doing here, and we would do like character reads. They would each have their own character read, and we would break it down, and they would do it a total of 3 times. The first 2 is what they did on their own with their own homework, and then the third time is after the feedback I'd give them and give them a different direction and see it, to test them and to kind of like make them a little uncomfortable, which is the point sometimes, is when you're doing the character reads, sometimes you have to make it a little uncomfortable to get some of the best things out of you.
Right.
And so, and we'll switch it up and we'll make them a little uncomfortable in a good way to help, hone their skills in acting. And it's an incredible experience. And sometimes, like, I was just like, I wasn't giving myself enough credit of how much I knew, because sometimes I get so busy with everything that I'm like, do I really know this? And then when it's happening, you're like, oh, I do know this because I've been mentored and trained, because one of my coaches is Mark Grau and he taught me things. And then I was able to just, in general, by doing the work, I knew what to do. And so I was able to help them, you know, and give them advice of how I find my work, you know, what I'm doing, how I do my auditions, what advice I've been given, things like that. And I'm able to share that with them and mentor them through it and help them improve their character reads and things like that. And so I've had the opportunity to do that. It's already recorded, everything's available. So anybody that ever joins the academy can view all of the stuff that we've already done. They can
That's
view
awesome.
everything. Yeah. So they have access to all the materials of not just me, but every mentor that is mentored every single month, which is a different genre. But I had the amazing opportunity to do the genre for August for video game character reads. And I was just so ecstatic. It's so incredibly awesome to have that opportunity. And I tell people it came because the creator of that academy, Corey, he heard me from a podcast. You know, he saw my interview. I would have I was just like, what? You know? And I always tell people, you know, show that you have initiative, that you're excited to do what you do, have very good communicative skills, make sure that you are effectively communicating to the other people. Because when he reached out to me, I didn't make him wait. You know, I was just like, hello, like, wow, you heard what did you think? Oh wow, that's incredible. What? What? um and I've told people also about auditions that I've had in the past, that this is a true story, and everybody has a unique email story. This is a really cool one. I tell people you never know who's listening to your auditions, or you never know if your auditions are going to book you future work for the same client, even if they declined you in that moment. Because I auditioned for a video game, I got declined for it, but I had submitted, I think, 6 to 8 different character auditions for that game. I wanted to be in that game so bad. I was like, I'm going to audition for every possible character I qualify for from all sorts of ranges. And I didn't get it. And I'm like, oh, you know. But then a year later, the developer contacted me and was like, I got all these roles if you want to do them. I know you can do them. Do you want to do them? And I'm like,
That's awesome.
a year later in an email. I'm just saying, you never know what's going to happen in this business. And when you show that you're working and you love this and you're there and you show up and, you know, people are watching you. People are like, what is she doing? Or he doing? Or they doing? Like, what's going on with them? You know, like people will start to notice this stuff. You don't know who's watching you. You don't. You have no
Me
clue.
remembering all the characters that I've auditioned for that I didn't get.
But the thing is that the audition piece, it's pretty much like Jun Yoon was saying. I was actually watching him. He does Twitch streaming as well, and he's really well known in the voice acting community. He, on his stream, he recently said that it's pretty much when you audition, it's your promise to them what they're gonna get. This is my promise to you as an actor of what I'm gonna give to you. So when you're auditioning, you're not giving it like 10%. You're giving it literally what you would give them if you're submitting the actual work. And so that's what I did with that particular developer, and didn't hear from them for a year.
And that's why they say, you know, the audition is the job.
It is the job. Yeah, for sure. Because that landed me 10 roles.
So I'm working on quick time. Yeah. And I want to talk about 2 more things.
Yes.
Real quick. So we mentioned role models earlier. Let's name a few. Who are some role models? Doesn't have to be voiceover. But who's your role models and inspiration right now?
George Newbern. I love him. He is a voice actor, but also actor. He is the voice of Sephiroth before remake. That guy. I adore him. I met him in person. He like sparked this fire in me. Very, very wholesome human being. I want to be like him. Laura Bailey, her range is absolutely stellar. I want to be where she's at in her career. I absolutely love Laura Bailey. She is so hardcore. Wow, there's so many people in general that don't even have to be big names, and they know who they are, that are in my circle. I wouldn't be where I am if it weren't for them, and I look up to them you know, I want to be like them because they're doing really well, and so I look up to them. But yeah, those two in particular, definitely huge inspiration from George Newbern, though. Huge inspiration from him, like before the voice acting, before everything. You know, meeting him was one of the greatest experiences of my life. And then I realized that I could help somebody one day with my voice, like he helped me with, you know, with his voice. So yeah.
Awesome. Those are two awesome actors, not gonna lie.
He's so cool.
So what is your one big piece of advice? Because I know you've given a couple of good golden nuggets. People who are wanting to get into voice acting, what is your one biggest advice? Biggest piece?
Research. I know it's horrible because who wants the research? But researching prepares you. And when you're prepared, you do things in a more organized and better fashion. And you only get one shot sometimes. So if you don't do it right the first time, that's it. That's the only chance you got. So I always say, you know, before you do anything and you're like, I really want to do this, research, learn, train, get resources. There's plenty of misleading information out there for anything, right? Talk to people, help, you know, pick people's brains that you know that will be willing to sit with you and talk with you, like you were saying earlier about the support of the community. You know, all of that is super important for preparing you for big jobs in the future. Just that preparation and researching and just training.
Absolutely, 100% agreed. You guys, I went through, how long was it? 3 years of research until I could actually afford to start taking classes. And then my real training began. Like I did all kinds of Google researching. I watched millions of YouTube videos from like Bill DeWeese and Gabrielle Nistico and several other awesome voice actors before I truly got into my first acting class, my first voiceover class. So research is probably the best piece of advice that you could ever give to someone. And I love that coming from someone who dove headfirst into it.
I did a little bit of research, but then after that, I did a lot of research because I was like, oh, took a lot of classes.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. If you want to check her out, it's mercedeslewisvo.com. And of course, I am at samphilyaw.com. And Mercedes, I will let you go enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.